So Shawn Porter feels that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford can do a lot more to promote the fight to make it bigger than what it is. We gonna talk about it in this next video. Does Shawn Porter have a point? Is Errol Spence and Terence Crawford dropping the ball to make this fight as big as it really should be? Well, we gonna talk about it in this video. I'm gonna give y'all my take on this situation, but before we do that, make sure that you hit my like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already sub to the channel. So we know EJ and Bud Crawford, the fight is like 2 weeks away now, right? We right around the corner from that fight really popping up. A fight that we've been waiting for like 4 or 5 years, you know. I can't wait for it to happen. I'm hella excited, but the thing is the average person that's really not a boxing fan, are they waiting for this fight to happen? Are they talking about this fight? That's the question. Now recently, Shawn Porter, on his podcast, he had this discussion. And they all talked about this situation. And Shawn Porter and everybody else that he was on the podcast with, they all agreed that the fight ain't really making as much noise as it should be making, with it being the best fight in boxing. The two best fighters getting in the ring to fight each other, right? Usually, that would be the biggest event in that sport. If you go to the NBA Finals, when you get the two top teams playing each other, it's the most viewed NBA games, right? In the NFL, when you get the two best teams playing each other in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the biggest NFL game televised each year. And in every sport, it's like that. In the UFC, you get the two best fighters fighting each other, you're going to get the numbers to back it up. But in the sport of boxing, it's not always like that. And so what is the problem? So that's the question, you know. How can we change that? We saw Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis. They actually gave us the blueprint. Now it's Errol Spence and Terence Crawford's time, right? Now, with Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis, that wasn't nowhere near the best fight that could be made in boxing. But both of those fighters, they got it, right? They knew how to promote. They knew what to do to promote, to get the casuals, the average everyday person that really don't give a damn about boxing, to actually want to see what was going to happen in that fight and tune in. So Shawn Porter and on the Porter Way podcast, they all felt that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, they wasn't quite doing that they could do a lot more to do that. Now, Terence Crawford was asked about the situation, and his take on it was the same exact take that Errol Spence had. Well, you know, it could be bigger, but they don't respect the fact that it's two black men not having to do all type of extra shit. You know, we just respect each other's abilities in the ring, and we know when we get in the ring, we're gonna prove that it is the best fight, right? We're not gonna do all that talking and hype everybody up and then get in the ring and put on the shit show, kind of like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao was, right? We're gonna get in the ring, and all the expectations that everybody have, this fight is gonna live up to it. And yeah, the diehard boxing fans like myself, like the ones that's listening to this video, we all understand that. But the thing is, how do you get the people that don't watch boxing, right? That don't really know too much about Errol Spence and Terence Crawford to want to tune in? Well, like I said before, my opinion, right, is they could do more, just like Shawn Porter and them was saying. Well, Shawn Porter's take on it, he said, well, you can post on social media. He said Errol Spence can do little things like post him hitting a heavy bag with Terence Crawford's face on it. Bud Crawford, he could do the same thing. And yeah, that's cool, but that ain't it. You know what I'm saying? That's not it. I believe what is it is what we saw Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis do. You know what they did? They utilized these big, huge YouTube platforms. Yeah, they utilize the content creators. They know everybody watches YouTube, right? And you got content creators that have 10 million, you know what I'm saying? 15, 20 million followers. And the young audience, they tune in to watch them all the time, and they have a huge influence. So Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, knowing that, what they did is they showed up on shows like Aiden Ross and Kai Cenat. I believe I'm saying his name right. If I'm saying it wrong, y'all gonna correct me in the comments anyway, right? But they made sure that they made appearances, on those guys' platforms. And with that being done, all of the young audience, they was in tune. They wanted to see what was going on with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Even the ones that wasn't too familiar with the fight popping off, right? When Gervonta Tank Davis went on those shows and Ryan Garcia went on those shows and they FaceTimed each other, being on those platforms, it got the whole world tuned in, right? The age group of the young 20s, the early 30s, the ones that's actually gonna buy the pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're not gonna have a problem with the fight being sold out, because the fight gonna get sold out in Vegas, you know what I'm saying? But how do you get into that million, 1.3 million, 1.5 million pay-per-view range where you want to get? Because honestly, you want to have this fight do over 1 million pay-per-view buys because it's the biggest and best fight in boxing. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get no better than Errol Spence and Terence Crawford right now. And so, in order to do that, I feel that Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, they gave y'all the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Holler at some of these guys that have these huge, influencer platforms, these huge, gamer platforms, all of that. Because Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia did it. I wasn't even familiar with, the Kai Cenat and Aiden Ross and all them cats. But I got familiar, after Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia was on there. But the same thing that I'm saying is the same thing that the millions and millions of people that watch their platform on a daily basis gonna be saying about Errol Spence and Terence Crawford if they actually got on some of those platforms. I wasn't really familiar with Terence Crawford. I wasn't really familiar with Errol Spence until they came on Kai Cenat, until they came on Aiden Ross, until they came on, these other YouTube gaming platforms or, whatever they may do. They need to tap into that world, because like I said, you got a chance to sit back and you got a chance to see Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis do it. And then you got a chance to see what the numbers did, what their pay-per-view numbers did. Now, it wasn't all because of that, but I think a big part of it was because of how they promoted themselves on social media, on YouTube platforms and things of that nature. And a lot of other fighters, they need to tap in and start doing that. So yeah, Errol Spence and Bud Crawford, they was right. They ain't got to call each other mama's names and push each other and, disrespect each other. It's other ways of promoting this fight without having to do all that. This is the social media age. It's a new day and time, and you got everything right at your fingertips. You don't even have to pull up on them dudes to get on their platform. You can beam in with FaceTime or beam in with a StreamYard or something like that. It's easy to do it. So I think that they definitely need to tap in and get this done. It's 2 weeks left in the fight and it's still time. It's still time. You know what I'm saying? You still got a lot of time to do these things that I'm talking about. So let's see if they do it, but that's my whole take on the situation. Is I'm not going to say that they dropping the ball, but I agree with Shawn Porter and everybody else that they actually can do a lot more. It's things that they're not taking advantage of that's right at their fingertips. I want to see this fight do huge numbers to put boxing on the map where it should be over the UFC. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time when I was growing up in the 80s, right? And then in the early 90s, boxing at one point in time was the biggest sport, bigger than the NFL, bigger than baseball, bigger than all the sports, bigger than the NBA and all of that. Boxing was him. It was it. But it ain't like that no more. And another thing I want to say about this fight, I remember with the Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia fight, man, I had cats calling me out of the blue. Calling cats that I hadn't talked to in forever. Oh man, who you got winning on that Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia fight, man? And I'm like, how you even know that fight going down? Like, how do you even know them? Do you even know them? Do you even know them as fight? Nah, but man, I was seeing it on such and such, and man, you watching that fight, man? I gotta watch that fight. Like, they was excited about the fight, even cats that didn't even really know who they are on that level. You know, so you gotta do stuff to make people that's really not in tune be in tune. But like I said, they got enough time. On July the 29th, it's finna be a man down. Y'all make sure y'all hit my like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subbed to the channel. And y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And I'm gone.
Enough to get me shook up, but now I got the cook up. And since they didn't book us, every time you look up, I'm riding.